A group came around to the fire department in 1937 to have this film shot of the town. From south, this scene is shot from Baden to Aliquippa. School kids crossing at Phillips Estate. General Materials Building, Riverview Hotel Building in the background. Chief Compton is correcting traffic there. You'll see the streetcar tracks through town. Chief Bob Compton. A few kids from the street corner just hanging, getting their picture taken. Irish Begley, a gentleman of town. Chief Compton leading George Placer away. Probably gonna lock him up. Pop and Mom Mortimer in front of their house. This well-known couple was well respected by the people in town. We affectionately called them Mom and Pop Mortimer. Their house is now the home of Dr. Logan, the dentist. The Baden Fire Department, coming out of the Phillip Street fire station located next to the Yellow Schoolhouse, coming down Phillips, going to hang a left on State Street. A little fire drill put on, I presume, for the benefit of the film. The fire truck going behind Overall's Clover Farm store to test out a little garbage fire behind the store, and their little hand pumps would put a fire of that nature out. This would have been 1937. Irish Begley, George Earhart, the third one over, the gentleman in a white coat, Frank Storer, and George Glasser, well-known individual in town. The Baden fire truck was either 1926 or 27. Overall's Clover Farm store, located where the two roads meet. The building is torn down. So the boulevard and this is Tom Overall on the right, Sam Overall in the middle, and Blanche Seabuth, later married Richards, a clerk. The Baden Schoolhouse, the Yellow Schoolhouse. Fire department conducted fire drills quite often. Kids coming out the west door of the school. You can see snow on the ground, but the kids don't have any coats because in a regular fire they would have to evacuate the school in the clothing they have. You'll notice they have either short pants or knickers on. The boys, nobody wore blue jeans or really knew what they were at that point. So it was a shirt, a pair of shorts. This is the evacuation chute on the west side of the building. It was used for a fire on the second floor. Sometimes the teachers let us go down and just as a thrill, we would slide down on wax paper and that would wax up the chute. This building has been remodeled into apartments by Mr. Kenny from Economy, still standing in the same place. The front entrance of the Baden School. Some of there's Richard Brzezis, George Valdovich. Some of these kids should be about my age now. I was 11 at the time. They go Billy Fisher there. They go pretty fast, and the film quality is not good at this point in time. Again, continuing the fire drill. Margie Marr there on the right. I should be in one of these pictures. Billy Davis. Dick Blazer on the right. Mr. Bucky, teachers, Mr. Emmerich, Miss Latto, Mr. Bodkin, Miss McCandless, Mr. Lawson, supervising principal, been there for years and years, actually taught my mother at the Baden School. Another view of the Baden Schoolhouse, the yellow building. I believe it was built in 1906. This is the white building across the street. Fire chief, 7th and 8th graders coming out of the school. Fire chief standing on the corner there. They would come out, stay out a period of time, and then go back into their classrooms. Very efficient. The janitor, Scotty Mulry, bringing out an extinguisher to be inspected by the fire chief. Scotty Mulry was janitor for years, lived on Schiller Street, is now deceased. Ruth Good, Harding, Bob Rose, Frank Storr, the fire chief in the background. Another view of some of our teachers, Miss Kelly, ironically, some of them are Mr. Smith, one of the younger teachers who wanted to be friends with kids. The council house on Schiller Street, the property is still owned by Borough Baden. George Earhart, street commissioner, councilman, well-liked gentleman. This building is still borough property, has a recreation board there. Ed Ehrman, a borough worker who was later on killed the ditch. The ditch collapsed on him. The grader being brought down either Schiller or Phelps Street, I'm not really sure. Grading the roads, they were just cinder roads at the time. The water main being put in, pretty sure the connecting road between Schiller Street and TV Hollow. Ditches being dug by hand, of course, and that's the way we had to do it back then. This would be the connecting road at TV Hollow. Mr. Lynn Laycock, a fireman, a lifelong resident. His sister Kathleen Laycock lived on Jefferson Street. These markers of the Legionville sighting still in place to this day. The Legionville field by the old A.M. Byers, a Anthony Wayne Revolutionary campsite. The Legionville Bridge crossing into Ambridge. Bridge is now torn down and filled. The road is still there, it's just been filled. The Amon House, the first house in Baden at Amon Avenue. The Mellon House, corner of Mellon and State Street, 420 State Street. Been rumored that George Washington slept there. The water tanks on Prospect Street, the top of the hill. The only two tanks at that point in time. Bush and Gilbert Sunoco Station were torn down and was later on rebuilt with Glazier Brothers Casting Station Garage. Sunoco Station again. The Christ Lutheran Church been added on to and improved considerably over the years. Clinton Wagner at the Gulf Station. The little building there is torn down. It's now the site of the mini mart there in town. That building in the background is now the Wise Credit Union. Wagner's Gulf Station. The Baden Methodist Church completely different now. Part torn down, built around. This is the front of Fisher's Bar and Grill. Apartments upstairs. Baden Electric, run by the Cobra brothers. They're on the left-hand side. Electrical sales and service. Fisher's Grill. Paul and Bess Fisher. This is directly across the street from Fisher's. This is Dorothy Fisher Gross. Dorothy Fisher married Eugene Gross from town. This was Blissy's little stationery store. The post office attached to overalls. This is Guthrie's. Mrs. Guthrie or Miss Rogas, the employee, I'm not sure. Guthrie's Bar and Grill. Building is still standing there, yellow aluminum siding, where the two roads meet. Either Bess or Dorothy sweeping the sidewalk in front of Fisher's Bar and Grill. William Vesio Shoe Repair Shop, Kurt Mortimer standing this. These four stores, a drugstore, hardware store, A&P, Vesio Shoe Shop, all were torn down just recently, and it's now a parking lot. A&P, 9 cents for a loaf of bread. Dumeyer's Drugstore on the corner of Phillips and State. C.J. Doc Dumeyer, well known by everybody in town. This is Theodore Badoner, a recluse that lived out behind Baden. Always came into town with his basket for groceries about once a week. Little camera shy, very bashful, but very harmless old gentleman that lived out in back of town. Kurt Mortimer, a very good friend of mine. Bob Compton with one of the school children in front of the stores. National Market, 229 State Street, is now the home of Dr. Nancy Alberts. The building's still standing there. This gasoline station was where it was torn down and Baden Hardware Store built there. Steenhovel's Bar and Grill. The building is still there. It's now apartments. And Baden Gardens, plot of ground, empty ground across the street from where the Legion is now, is Theodore or Angelo Bonacci, the realtor. The ground runs crossing Berry Street, up Bauman Avenue, up to Prospect Street. All those houses built up there at a later date were known as Baden Gardens. Captain Calvin Blazer, riverboat captain, his homestead still stands where the Baden Floral Shop is. This furnace at A.M. Byers, Bessemer converter furnace, being heated, pumping out molten metal to make steel. The furnace, when the mills closed, was dismantled. It now stands a station square with a plaque on it indicating that it came from A.M. Byers plant in Ambridge, probably the last Bessemer converter furnace yet in existence, or at least in this valley. This is a playground on the south side of Monkalipson Academy. We had no playgrounds or very little grounds for the kids to play. Some would be Monkalipson day school boys. Others would just be the local kids. Fly their kites, shoot marbles. Notice the uniform of the day, tassel caps. Some of them would have the little aviator caps, the airplane with goggles, flying kites. It's had to be probably in March. Good kite flying weather, and you'll see still the snow on the ground. The kids playing at Monkelitz and grounds. Some of the shots, I believe, were outside the Phillips Street School. The kids shooting marbles or commies. Anybody of my age would be well aware that you'd knock the other marble out of the ring, you picked it up and it was yours to keep. A few boys just hamming it up for the camera. A cap pistol, shooting cap pistols. We all had them. We were even allowed to take them to school. Wow. More unidentified children playing at Monkelitz and shooting marbles. Again, another scene of that. Monkelitz Academy in the background. The old boiler room chimney there for the academy. Discussing who won all the marbles. Monkelitz. Still standing. So the Mother House for Sisters of St. Joseph. Another shot of the Monkelitz and playgrounds. General Materials River Rail Terminal. They still are in existence, unloading river things onto rails, onto trucks. General Materials still maintains an office in Baden. And the new railroad bridge where the highways meet goes down to there. A scene from either on the river or the Aliquippa side showing J&L and panning down, showing Baden proper, running south to north. The houses, many more houses built now. Water tanks on top of the hill. Panning back the other way now. Spank Chalfin Mill, National Supply Company, later bought out by Armco, and shows the daylight shift coming out. There's quite a bit of footage on this. It shows the gentleman coming out from the mill. Very few of them are recognized by me. You'll notice that they are no ball caps there, wearing either a fedora or a cap. The only people who wore ball caps at that time were ball players. So, like I say, an awful lot of time was spent on the footage here. You'll see the cars anywhere from 1933, 34, 36, 37 model cars. Bashful in there. A couple of younger employees coming out. The bus stop, which stood for many, many years, now replaced with the newer type bus stops for Beaver County Transit. Other individuals outside the mill. Either a mill policeman or a average policeman, I don't know. This is Walt Kacharski, lived in town. And a Beaver Valley Traction Company bus. Henry Burgess for motor sales. The building still stands. It's now the home of the Economy Plumbing and Heating. Employees, the lady there is Wanda Hilger, who later married Henry Burnesser. The only car dealership we ever had in town, Chrysler Plymouth dealership. You'd recognize the building still standing as Economy Plumbing. Some brand new 1937-38 Chryslers and Imperials in the lot. Along the side and across the street, the used cars. The George Black home directly ahead there. More shots of used cars and some new ones again. Aloysius Moore became a partner with Henry Burnesser at one point in time. Henry Burnesser Motor Sales. A gang in front of the stores, Kurt Mortimer again. Some of these gentlemen don't really know. Have to get in on the act to get their picture to little Andy Harkawyan, well-known individual, very good worker for the Lions Club until the day he died. George Glasser coming out of the A&P with his groceries. Ben McKee, good friend of mine, deceased at this point. A lady unknown, and this is Leon Meadows, insurance man, coming across the street. A couple of school teachers. The hillside at Phillips, going up to the school. Don't know this gentleman, I really should, standing out in front of the A&P. Just a crowd of kids around. Chief Compton scolding a couple of the school teachers. Bob was quite a playful gentleman. This, you see Leon Meadows again, the insurance man in front of the drugstore. A couple of school teachers. The end.